Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Movie Chats with Ant and Rye. This week, we are discussing the very recently released J. Kelly, starring George Clooney and Adam Sandler, and directed by Noah Baumbach. So, or Baumbach, I think you pronounce it, but yeah, uh, interesting film. It was very meta because it's obviously about George Clooney's playing
Yeah.
a guy named Jay Kelly, who is an aging celebrity movie star
hmm
who's trying to find himself and just he's a bit lost in life at the moment and goes on a bit of an adventure to try and air brackets find himself. And it was a bit like how George Clooney himself is an aging movie star. Maybe not so much trying to find himself, but
Yeah.
um, very deep into the relationships here. So there's obviously
hmm
it's a very dramatic, very well written film. I found like it's obviously about
It
he's
is.
got those relationships with those around him. His manager is Ron, played by Adam Sandler. His kids, his entourage. He's got a bit of an entourage that always hangs around.
hmm
Yeah, I just found it, I've really enjoyed. I just really enjoyed this. It was just a very nice film to watch, and it had some nice.
Very
It was
yeah, it's a very flowy movie. It goes by and things happen. It's a very easy watch, but I have to say towards the end, especially it really grabbed me. It has some
yeah,
deep themes that resonated with me, and it really paid off towards the end.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
I don't think this is a film I probably could have appreciated when I was in my 20s. Now that I'm in my
no,
40s, you know, Jay feels very lonely. He's like because his daughter's going to go off on this holiday, but I'm going to be all alone. And she's like, you're never alone. And he's like, well, I'm always alone. And then, his bodyguard's handing him a drink, but he might have people around him, but he doesn't feel like he's got that relationship. He
he's
feels
not.
lonely to him.
He's not being himself. Jake
Yeah.
Kelly is a concept. That's why there is a very good line when I don't remember if it's Jay who says it or Ron, or Jay repeats what Ron has said when he says, "I am Jake Kelly too."
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
because Ron and all the people around, especially Ron, help build that actor and his persona, and they control the press as well. What goes into the press is when he's chasing the thief of the old lady's handbag,
yep,
but that he punched somebody in the face and broke his nose, that is being kept quiet. So there is this is a concept, is not truly that. And as he's, yeah, I guess getting older, he wants to connect with his family, but he can't because, and he says it as well at some point, that he had to go all the way to be a movie star, and he thought that this is what he wanted uh, when he was younger, and that at some point he would just put that in the back burner and focus on his family, but never did. And he
yep,
has been absent with his
yeah,
family, and that's enough for him and especially one of his daughters for them to be estranged.
yeah. Ironically, Jessica, the character Jessica, is played by Riley Keough, who herself is a nepo baby. I thought that was actually really ingenious that they cast a nepo baby to play the daughter, to play a nepo baby. Basically,
Yeah,
she's been put at last, basically, from her father. Her father's career's always come first. She's always come last, and that's. I thought that was really ingenious that they've put,
mm,
someone who may or
yeah,
may not have had that real relationship with her own parents, but she could kind of understand what it's like to live in the world of my parents are movie stars, so she could kind of have
yeah,
that empathy for her character.
yeah. And look, it at the end of the day, actors are people, and it's really the
Yeah.
choice of what you're doing it. And I think this is where they are making the contrast with the character of Ben Alcox. I think that's how they
Yep.
name him. That he's always traveling with his entire family, that is filling up two minivans when Jay is pretty much always alone, just with his professional entourage, and that's it. So they're doing it a very different way.
I
Yeah,
want to,
yeah, go for it.
but then I like the fact that they made him Ben kind of he's with his family, he's with whatnot. But a few scenes earlier, you've got Liz and Ron going about Jay. You know, he doesn't love us. We're not his people. We're not his family. We're not his friends. We're just. And then a few scenes later, where you've got Ben, who's he feels very relatable. He feels like even
Mm,
though he's just let go of Ron. Oh, they're not family. They're not friends. What? We're just going to give them 15% of our money.
yeah,
They're
which
just
is
they just work for us.
true. It is true, and I wish that Laura Dern was for longer in the movie because I really
Oh,
like her.
I know, right? But
But
it was
she's right in what she says.
yeah. But I don't think Jay really felt that passively against uh, Liz and Ron as what Ben did. Ben openly
No,
admitted, no, they're not.
yeah,
They're just they're just my underlings. Where
because
Jay never
Jay,
really,
yeah, because Jay doesn't have this family support, this strong family support,
yeah,
so he can't really make the difference between the professional and the personal. It's all very blended. And the problem with Ron is that he enables him, and I have mixed feelings about Ron's character. Not in the way that he's written. I think he's written and played
yeah,
very, very well, but in the way that um, he really he wants to be loved and appreciated, but he's really, really trying too hard to get there. It's not the way to be loved and to be appreciated. Sometimes you just need to draw boundaries and say, hey, this is where things are stopping for me and in that relationship, but everything else is fine. Here he's really going all the way with everything, and he's not really getting the affection and appreciation that he wants, neither from his family, because his wife doesn't return the I love you when he got fired by Ben, and
yep,
Jay doesn't really listen to him that much. He doesn't really know anything about him or his family. He's not inviting him. He's not going to his stuff. So yeah, I'm trying very hard, but at the end of the day, he's lonely and he's just only hurting himself.
yeah. I really loved. Yeah, great points. I sorry, I got a little bit lost in what you were saying there. It was just, it was very well said. Um, yeah, completely right. Yeah. It's kind of they're almost very, I don't know how to describe it. They're, they're almost, you feel so sorry for both of them because they're both kind of lost in their own lives. They
Yeah,
both want more, but they don't know how to get that.
exactly. Um, it is really relatable, and it's especially at the end I really related to like to Jay's character when he's having the tributes and he's asking, "Oh, can I have a redo?" When
Yeah.
he's thinking or imagining his daughter's putting on a show, and what if he stayed, but apparently he left. And for me, it's really about being a dad and having a career. I think in modern days, it's very hard to conceal the two because, yes, you can go all the way and be in your career and being available and going up and up and up and climbing the corporate ladder, for example, or building your own business and really doing it at 100%. But when you have kids, they are not going to be young forever. So, how do you handle the two? Do you really need to
Yeah.
choose? Is there a middle ground, or how do you do it? And Jay
Yeah.
made a choice and now he's paying for it. And I really like that they didn't go too hard in a way that maybe he was an abusive father or anything like that. No, he was just an absent. He was just
Yeah.
absent, and that was enough to mess up the relationships that he has with his kids.
Yeah. It's kind of heartbreaking, really, that it
Yeah,
just all he did was he put his career first. He was, by all accounts, a good father, but he just wasn't there enough. And that's
Yeah, yeah,
even just like watching it, I kind of had to go to like spend time with my kid today. You know, it's just like I just wanted to make sure that I've got time with them as well because you don't want to have that kind of relationship. I
don't
want
want to
to
have that
give
kind of
them.
regrets. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely. No. Um, I loved the tribute to Jay because it's almost a tribute to George Clooney, and apparently George Clooney didn't know that they were going to show all those
hmm,
scenes of all his movies. So Jay sitting there watching all of his movies, which were actually George Clooney's movies, was
yeah,
actually him like sitting back going, "Oh wow, this is my life,
yeah.
basically."
I know, and I'm so glad that they cast George Clooney. I think nobody could be more perfect than him because even when he's wrong or he doesn't say the right thing, he's so bloody charming.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah,
there's only a small handful of actors who could have done it. I
yeah.
think only two others I could think of that might have done it okay, and that's Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. I think they're probably the only two. I think
Potentially,
George
yeah.
Clooney was miles above them, but
I think he's a stop because, yeah, I get what you mean. Tom Cruise is just a bit too his private life and what he is. I think
yeah,
is a bit too complicated, maybe. But I could see
yeah,
Brad Pitt pulling it off, even though with all the scandal with Angelina and the kids and everything, I
yeah,
think he's a bit less polished now.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
um, the cast was fantastic. Not only George Clooney, I think Adam Sandler is great. Laura Dern is just awesome as
I
well.
I think this might be one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies I've watched him in. He's such a good dramatic actor.
He is.
I still haven't seen Punch Drunk Love, so I've got to watch that soon. But just when he brings the dramatic, he's very, very good at it. So
Yeah,
I was a little bit skeptical with Noah Baumbach directing because I've only seen a few of his movies where it's very absurdist. White
mm.
Noise is one of his movies, which Greta Gerwig obviously starred in. Greta Gerwig is married to Noah Baumbach. I'm butchering his name. I'm sorry, but I loved his direction, especially that opening sequence where it had the long take, where it was going through
Yeah,
the movie set, and then it got to where he's doing his, he's
that was
dying.
very, yeah, that was very good. The two other moments as well that I really, really liked was when he opened the train door compartment and then it goes into a scene when he's in bed with
Yeah.
the actress and
Oh, yep,
then it's
yep.
the morning and the kids coming was beautiful, and especially towards the end when he's calling his daughter, and instead of it being a conversation over the phone, you pass a tree and they're actually talking to each other.
Yeah.
That was so powerful. I love that.
Yeah, right. And I really loved the flashbacks as well. They did.
Mm,
It was almost. It was very meta, where he was walking through the door, through a door, and it was almost like he was going into another set.
yeah,
He's looking at his obviously his flashbacks of his uh, how he got to where he was. The the audition with Tim. Just yeah, they were all just very well done. I just thought it was very clever.
yeah.
It was it ticked all the boxes for me. I thought there's quite a lot that it did right. So
It was great. Well, well done. I like the way it's written as well because it's the right way to do drama because it's not too heavy on wanting to move you and make you cry. It's just telling a story, sometimes very subtly. Like Jay is in his world, and he's of course he's this very successful movie star that has a lot of people around. So he can be a bit off when it comes down to reality and real relationships with people that are not working for him. Uh, but he's also not 100% awkward, and he's not so entitled. He still got a very human heart to him, which I
yeah.
really liked.
Um, if I could have asked for anything more from this movie, I wanted more about Liz and Ron. They just they kind of through they were in a relationship and he had a ring in his pocket, but she had to go help
Yeah,
Jay.
that was a bit strange. Yeah,
Yeah, so were they going to get engaged? And then but then Ron's gone off and had a family and has Liz as
yeah,
well. And I just wanted more resolution on that. That I
yeah.
think that needed to be a little bit refined. They just kind of just threw it in there just to throw it in there. Maybe not include that if it's not going to go
It
anywhere.
was not needed. You could have written that off, and it wouldn't have changed anything to the movie.
Yeah. Same with Jim Broadbent's character as well.
Mm,
There's a bit where, oh, Peter's died and then that's they've had a funeral scene, but that's just how Tim's kind of been introduced to,
yeah.
hey, how are you, man? And they probably didn't really need that was just kind of just put in there willy-nilly as well. I don't think that really added anything.
Potentially, I saw it as the catalyst of the story in the way that
Okay.
apparently he was his mentor
I
and
suppose,
somebody that
yeah,
he
because
was
he,
really close to, and then he passes away. Maybe that's what makes Jay realize his own mortality and that he's aging as well. And I mean, what am I doing? Why am I still doing movies? Or should I
yeah,
focus a bit more on myself, my family?
yeah, maybe that could have been refined better. Just because
Mm,
obviously, yeah, you're right, because Peter was in the audition flashback. Just tweaked that a bit better. That could have just
yeah, yeah,
would have
yeah,
made it
true.
just slightly better.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to affect my score, and I think
No,
you'll see my score in a second. So, speaking of, shall we get into it?
let's do it.
I was bordering on 4 and 4.5, but I think I'm going to give it a 4.5. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really good. Great direction, great performances by all. Few tweaks would have made it a little bit better, but yeah, a good 4.5 out of 5 from me.
Yeah. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 as well. I really, really enjoyed it. And it's hard. Everybody's got their genres that they like best. Drama is usually not necessarily my favorite genre. It needs to be done very, very well. And I think this one was done very, very well in the writing, the dialogue, the direction, the cast, and I really, really enjoyed it. And there was a very good emotional payoff at the end for me. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5.
There you go. Wonderful. All right, everyone. Well, Merry Christmas. It is
Merry
obviously
Christmas.
Christmas this week. We didn't do Christmas movies because that's just what we do.
Yeah.
But we will be back next week with another episode. Please let us know what you thought of this film. Agree, disagree. Please, as always, leave a like or a comment. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks so much.